Jill Payne, who is Skyping in from Houston, where there's a team down there who, during the storm, Jill, the Houston Texans were everywhere trying to help all of you affected by the hurricane, by Hurricane Harvey. But now a metaphorical hurricane has uprooted so much affection and allegiance to these teams. Give us your take on this psychologically and relationally.
Okay. As I emailed you, something's going on called groupthink. There's many things. JD, I like to listen to both sides, and because of that, on my phone I get little messages from CNN so I can know what's happening. So this got me to think, because CNN kept on, just giving me all these different messages that this is Trump's fault, this is Trump's fault, this is Trump's fault. And I'm a therapist, and I said, wait a minute. If somebody came to me, a couple came to me, and they said the husband and the wife are there, and the husband looks at me and he says, Jill, it's my wife's fault. She nags all the time, and that's how come I had an affair with Sally. And so we're getting to where there's blame, and we need to take responsibility for our actions. And one of the things that's going on right now, whether it started with one person kneeling, it's gotten to be where they've really lost what's going on because of something called groupthink. And so groupthink is what we do when we get in a group and we start thinking like the group, even though there might be about 75% of the people in the group that don't really want to go with the group, but because of what is called peer pressure, they go along with it. And if you even watched last night, I looked at some of the pictures, and there were black and white players had their hand on their heart, I think. Did you see that? Was I mistaken?
Yes, I've seen some of those pictures. Yep, no, you're absolutely right about that. Although there were efforts, of course, to the suggestion of Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers. He said all the players ought to hold hands and link arms, and so should the fans. And Jill, my take on that was that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers were looking for some sort of absolution from the crowd, or perhaps validation, trying to bring the fans by that conscious action into the protest. And a lot of fans responded, no, we got a better idea. We'll stand at attention, keep our hands to ourselves, and perhaps put our hands over our hearts. What do you make of Aaron Rodgers' appeal to link arms or hold hands for, quote, social justice?
He's part of the group think. And so his group is thinking, quote, this way. And when you do group think, JD, it's a psychological phenomenon. And so the results with your decision making usually are irrational or dysfunctional decision making. So he's not really seeing the big picture. He's caught up in that tunnel vision of the group think. So what's happening is something called anger. I'm sure you've heard of it, right?
Oh, yeah, I may have been there myself on occasion, Jill. Anger, yeah, I'm familiar with it.
So what's happened is this group think started out with some anger over being not treated equally, and then it's being displaced now, blaming it on Trump when nothing just happens because people don't come to my office and all of a sudden they say, gosh, my spouse just left me. It doesn't just happen, things build up. So this bias and prejudice and all this anger was really going on. It was a buildup. And so all of a sudden, because we have a president that's a New Yorker, he's very blunt, and he just says it like it is. And so because of that, it just sort of ignited what has been going on for years. And so that's really what's been going on. So people need to sit back, and they need to have a devil's advocate, and they need to start looking at the third side of the coin. They're just looking at black and white thinking, and in psychology, black and white thinking doesn't work. Nothing is all or nothing.
And who fills that role? Is that the fans or the ownership? Because to me, The owners, likewise, I don't know if it was arrogance or their elite status in life as billionaires, but they seem too to be involved in groupthink or anger not directed at social justice, but anger directed at President Trump for articulating the frustrations that most Americans feel.
Right. So this is what's going to happen, JD, and I'm not a predictor. I don't read minds or anything. This is people. So there's this Dr. Conte, and he specializes in anger management. And what he calls, or what he says is that when you are so angry, because there's 10 levels of anger, when you're just a little irritated and annoyed, JD, that motivates you to go and fight and get what you want. When you start getting mad and furious, then you can't think. And he says what happens is you become a puppet. And so a lot of these people, and this is even the Republican establishment, are becoming Trump puppets. And so what's going to happen, and you're seeing it already. I think someone told me that while the Packers were playing, or they were standing arm in arm, that there was people protesting in song for the national anthem and putting their hand over their heart in pubs. So you're going to see that there's going to be another side of peer pressure. This is going to backfire. When you're so angry, remember, you're giving power to the other people.
And this anger now on the part of fans, do you expect fans to continue to attend NFL games, or are things going to get much worse economically, attitudinally, in terms of the cultural prominence of football? Is it headed into eclipse because of this episode? We've got about a minute remaining, Jill.
I'm just going to tell you what I've already been hearing. People are boycotting watching the NFL football team now. They're going more towards college, and that is happening already as we speak. So people are going to be seeing, like ESPN and the Emmy Awards had a very low rating. You're going to see that people are going to start boycotting that. That's what's going to be happening.
Well, one thing we shall not boycott are our visits with you, Jill Payne, as you Skype in from Houston, to set us straight on relationships and psychology and what is really afoot. Jill, we very much appreciate your time today from Houston, and we hope you have a great weekend and enjoy college football if you decide to stay away from watching the NFL. Thanks for your time. We're so glad you're watching this program. It's J.D. Hayworth on Newsmax TV, and you and I may have a chance to see the President of the United States in mere moments. He is scheduled to address the National Association of Manufacturers, and should he step to the podium, we will try to provide that coverage. For now, we're going to step aside to pay some of our bills. We'll be back on the other side.